Hello, I'm Robin Joy and I'm delighted to be speaking with you in what is the second of my 6-part email series designed to further assist you in achieving and maintaining your ideal weight forever by enlightening you with information about my philosophies and concepts, inspiring you with stories about my own ultimately successful weight management experience, and empowering you with easy to implement, highly effective strategies that will make achieving and maintaining your ideal weight easy, effective, and fun. So welcome back. Now, before I move on to the topic of today's video, I just want to take a few minutes to recap what I spoke about last time. So last week I introduced you to an incredible concept that I refer to as the life experience cycle. I explained that it's the beliefs we hold that drive the thoughts that we think. And I identified that there are two different categories of thoughts. So either conscious, so think deliberate or intentional or active, and subconscious, so think automatic or unintentional or passive. I also explained how both conscious and subconscious thoughts can be positive, so think constructive or beneficial or aligned with what we want, or negative, so think destructive or detrimental or out of alignment with what we want. And finally, and most importantly, I advised you that whatever it is that you'll spend your time thinking about, that is what you are asking for. And you always, always, always get what you ask for. No exception. And to finish, I gave you a second exercise to do in addition to the daily guided visualization that I asked you to do from the beginning. And that second exercise was to consciously and consistently observe and manage your negative subconscious thoughts in regards to your weight. So how did you go? How many negative thoughts did you catch yourself having? Quite a few, right? Me too. I was really surprised by the number of negative thoughts that I had and how far they were out of alignment with what I really wanted for myself. And if you're like me, you also notice that you didn't have just random thoughts, but rather you had a random thought that then triggered a dialogue or a negative story about yourself and your weight. You see, we don't think with just thoughts. We think our lives in stories, and then we live our lives in the stories that match the thoughts that we think. And often we tell ourselves such convincing stories. All the details are there, all the reasons, all the justifications, so much so that the negative thought is something that we believe because we've got all this evidence pointing towards it. And we consistently tell ourselves this negative story, which fuels the belief that we have in it. And so the second stage of the life experience cycle is to understand that whilst our beliefs drive our thoughts facilitate our emotions. Now, they don't prescribe or determine our emotions, they facilitate our emotions. You see, just like our thoughts, our emotions can be subconscious or conscious. So, have you ever been in a situation where you normally get upset? Something happens and it always makes you feel unhappy, sad, angry, whatever it is, some form of negative emotion. But over time, you start to tell yourself, you know what, I'm not going to let this upset me anymore. I'm not going to let this get the better of me. And you start to take command over how you react to something. And that how you react is definitely the thoughts that you think, but it's also the emotions that you allow yourself to feel. Or have you ever been in a big group of people that have received news? Now, some of those people become completely outraged, absolutely furious, whilst others are not at all happy, and then others are actually quite pleased because they think, well, it could have been far worse. Or maybe it was the opposite. Maybe some people became really ecstatic, absolutely over the moon and thrilled, whilst others were very happy and very pleased, and others were still disappointed because, well, the outcome could have been far better. All of this just goes to prove that our emotions are not prescribed. Our emotions are selective. We get to choose the emotions that we feel. Most people don't know this. Most people react to things in the way that they were taught, the way that they learned as a child. Something bad creates negative emotions and we express anger, fear, sadness, whatever it may be. Something good happens and we get to express joy and gratitude and whatever else the situation may be. But the truth of the matter is that whatever scenario we find ourselves in, we can actually choose how we want to perceive that and react or respond to it. So why is it important to understand that you can have control and command over the emotions that you allow yourself to both experience and express? Well, next week I'm going to explain to you exactly what it is that your emotions are responsible for, and all the time, not just when you're aware of them, not just when you're being conscious or actively managing your emotions, all the time. But for now, it's enough to understand that the emotions that you feel are an indication of the experience that you're having. They impact how you feel, they impact how you think, and they impact how you behave. So understanding that you can have control over the emotions that you feel means that you also understand you have control over how you perceive both yourself and your life. And so last week I told you the story of how I caught myself having a very negative, very detrimental thought about myself first thing every morning when I saw myself in my full length mirror. And that thought was, oh my goodness, I'm getting so fat. If I don't do something, there'll be no getting back. Okay, so this week's story builds on from there. So last week I mentioned the fact that I intentionally changed that thought. So initially it was a matter of starting that thought, stopping it intentionally and converting it to, hey girl, you are looking good. The changes you want to see are starting to take form, happening. Okay, so to build on from that, eventually that became something that I didn't necessarily need to consciously do, but started to happen automatically because I repeated it every single morning. It became a new habit. Okay, well, what I want to talk to you about today is the fact that from the get-go, I accompanied those negative thoughts turning to positive with negative emotions converting to positive emotions as well. So when I would see myself in the mirror and I'd feel all down and all disappointed in myself and quite embarrassed and possibly at times a bit disgusted, and I would start with the whole, oh my goodness, I'm getting so fat. Then I would stop that. I would stop the thought and the emotion, and I would change the thought intentionally to something that was positive, and I would muster the positive emotion as strongly as possible for as long as possible. And so when I started saying, hey girl, you are looking good, the changes you want to see are starting to take form, I would feel this sense of relief that my 30-year battle with weight was finally over. And I would feel this sense of confidence that I was becoming the person that I most wanted to be. Now, that person wasn't looking back at me in the mirror at the time, but I believed in this process, and I believed that if I thought the thoughts and felt the emotions, that she would be. And sure enough, eventually she did. And so this week's strategy and tactic is exactly the same for you. I want you to continue doing the, observing and monitoring and managing your negative thoughts into positive, but I want you to add in the emotions as well. So if you see yourself and you have some form of negative thought, regardless of whether you're driving in your car or you're seeing yourself in a mirror or you're comparing yourself to someone else, I want you to continue to stop the negative thought, convert it to something positive straight away, and to feel the emotion that would align with that positive thought. So it might be, hey, you know what? I'm beautiful in my own right. And I want you to feel, maybe it's relief, maybe it's confidence, maybe it's feeling sexy or feeling playful or feeling assertive or feeling grateful. It doesn't matter what the positive emotion is. What matters is that you allow yourself to experience it and to feel it deep within. So a couple of things that can help with that. The first is doing the power pose, okay? So if you are feeling a bit down and you go, oh, I feel so awful, I feel so fat, I just ate too much for lunch, whatever it might be, I want you to stop those thoughts. I want your shoulders back. I want you to feel confident, and I want you to say, you know what? I'm in control of my diet. I look good in everything I wear. I feel great about myself. I'm beautiful from my outside to my inside, whatever it might be for you. And I want you to feel the joy. I want you to feel the pride and the confidence, the positive emotions that align and support those thoughts. Okay, so do that. To start with, they might be really fleeting. Okay, you might feel good about yourself and then it's back. That's okay. Just continue to persist. The more you do it, the longer the feeling will come, the more authentic it will be, until it's not something that you are contriving. It is something that is automatically happening for you. It is the experience that you have created for yourself. Okay, so that's it for week 2. Thank you very much for tuning in and sticking right through to the end. I wish you luck over the next week, and I can't wait to speak with you again when I'm going to share with you exactly what it is that your emotions do and how incredibly important and powerful they are. So until then, I hope you glow with confidence, pride, vitality, and joy. Thanks very much, and again, well done.